everybody, and welcome to Michael in the Backyard. Man, have I got a list of things to do this weekend. And I'll share that with you right now. We're going to walk over to the whiteboard and take a quick gander at that list. This list is 11 items long. If I get all this done this weekend, it'll be an absolute miracle. But if you don't stop moving, things won't stop happening. If you keep moving, things will happen. If it's fixed, broke it till it is. I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but we got to change the oil in the mower. We got to mount the light on my bike. We got to mount the bags on the bike. That's the Hemingway e-bike. I'm planning a trip on that bike. I'm planning on taking it on a little bit of a short road trip excursion, overnight camping, fishing adventure. I got to get that stuff kind of prepared and work on that. Show you kind of what I'm working on there. We'll cover more of that. I don't know what that was. When we get to that video, we're going to figure out a drone. We got a new little drone I want to play around with that's going to enhance the video quality of my videos. I'm hoping it's, we'll talk more about that a little later on. And as you guys know, I'm always trying to do stuff to make the video or the watching experience a little bit better. I always try to bring you high quality. I always have a little cover on my mic so I get good mic coverage so you can hear everything. And you know, you don't pick up the wind noise when I'm riding bike and stuff like that. So I always do that for you guys as well. I got to modify a couple. I got a job I got to do. I got to modify tables. And I've got to build another enclosure this weekend. I got to change the truck transmission fluid. I got to change the gear oil on the front end. I haven't done the front end gear oil yet. I want to do that. Organized bike toolbox. I got a bike toolbox. I got a Truvalux battery test I got to do. I got to mount arbor press. And that's just tidying up some loose ends around the shop. Now, you haven't seen this video yet because it hasn't been completed yet, and it's still not completed. But as you can see here, I'm slowly, very slowly, working my way through modifications on the front of my Jeep Liberty. This is kind of a sneak peek as to what's going on with it. So I need to get my shop back for this weekend, so we're going to close the lid on this project for a minute and lock it down for a second or two. I'm going to throw the grill parts in the back, and we're going to move this up to the main garage just to keep it out of the weather and out of the dewy mornings that we have around here, to keep this from getting rusty and make a mess out of things. We've got an absolute mess in the shop here. I've got to get back to somewhat what I want to call organized, where I'm willing to start working on stuff. I've got a bench, my workbench here, or toolbox bench, covered in stuff. I've been working on bike stuff. There's bike stuff back here. I got to get stuff in totes, containers, and different things like that. We're going to speed through a lot of stuff for you guys. We're going to do a lot of time lapse, a little bit of voiceover, some music, so you can see some rapid progress, let's call it. And I will voice over and or stop and pause and talk through some things that I think are kind of neat or important, or things that maybe other people can learn from. And we got a visitor here. What's your name, buddy? Huh? What's your name? Yep. New future mouser around the property. I tell you what, them cats keep the mice at bay. I haven't had a single mouse infestation, nesting problem at all on the whole property with cats. Cats bring their own line of pain in the butt, but it's either that or buy a lot of poison, and then you still got to make the mice eat the poison. The cats will take care of the mice no matter what's going on. Alrighty. Well, let's get this out of here. Let's sort and clean up the perimeter in here so I can effectively bring other stuff in here and work on it. That's what's going to happen now. And don't forget, if you like what you're seeing here, hit the subscribe, hit the thumbs up so you get notifications as to, you know, other things and projects that I'm working on and or doing. Also, I'll leave links in the description for some of the neat stuff you might see in this video. I'll leave links below. If something intrigues you and you want to go look at it, these links will take you to the websites and to possibly Amazon or other websites. None of this is sponsored, folks. If you do end up buying something from one of the links on the Amazon links, I get a little commission back from that, which, you know, I'll be honest with you, what's been happening with me lately is I get anywhere, it could be $8 a month, it could be $30, $40 a month, commission I get, it's not a lot. As you guys know, with all the stuff I do here, that does not cover any of the expenses. The YouTube money I make off YouTube does not cover all the expenses by a long shot. But these are things I like to do. I work hard so I can play hard. I work to live. I don't live to work. Now the work I do, I live to work on my own stuff. So anyway, work hard, play hard, enjoy things, enjoy life. Make the most of every day, and that's what we're going to do today and tomorrow. We've got a current temperature, outside temperature of 61 degrees in September. And my shop temperature is at 67 degrees. I got my thermostat in the shop set at 68 degrees. I've got the Mr. Cool on auto, so it'll switch from heat to cold automatically. I don't have to worry about it. And there'll be a video coming out on the Mr. Cool thing in November about 1 year in the life of having a Mr. Cool in my shop. So that, stay tuned for that coming up, because so far everything's been nothing but positive results. But I want to give you guys some information on my experiences, my savings or losses. Not going to give it away yet. And let's get busy. First thing on the list is changing the oil in the mower. So we're going to get this out of here, park it up there, bring the mower in here, get it warmed up a little bit, and then we're going to change the oil and then move on to the next project immediately thereafter. So folks, I love for you guys to watching me. I appreciate everybody that watches, and enough chitter chatter. Let's get at her. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when it comes to doing projects and lists on projects, sometimes you do them out of order just for whatever reason comes to mind. And the reason I did this one out of order is because it's something I can knock out pretty quick, knock something off my list. And this is only half of the project, but the other half of this particular project is just as little time consuming as this part is, and we'll get back to that here in a minute. But I wanted to knock this out, park it outside, and then do the next thing I want to do. So, what did I put here? Here's some tail lights. These can be turned on and off like this. Different modes. Flasher mode, just by pushing the button and turned off. And they're off. Now, the reason I did this, there is a specific reason why I did this. I got called out after dark the other night on a bike ride. I did a 34-mile ride. And I did different rides to a riding location, rode with some folks, rode to another location, had dinner with some folks, and then it was 8 o'clock by the time I was heading home, and it was dark. Luckily, another rider loaned me his helmet or headlight that had red lights on it. I wore it on my neck backwards. I had a headlight on the bike, and I got home safely. I put it in pedal assist 9. I never saw anything under 20 miles an hour for the next 7 miles. I rode the poo-poo out of it. Okay, so I decided I wanted to get some really, really cool tail lights. There'll be a link in the description for these below, but check this out. Nuh-uh. It's got a turn signal. Makes a noise. It's got another turn signal. Now I'm turning left. And I installed 2 of these. Isn't that about as much irritation as you can get? But I'll be seen. You turn them off. Then from the remote up here, I can actually turn the lights on. And that's just an on light. The other cool part about this is it has an automatic brake light too, which I'm not sure if I'll capture it here or not, but let's see. Let's roll and stop. Did you see anything? You're on the wrong side of the camera. Go back here and see if you can see it. I don't know if this is going to capture it or not. So right now we're riding. We're getting ready to ride. We're taking off. And now we're going to stop. Brake lights come on. It turned to a brighter light. I got the boss back here confirming. Awesome. So that's the other cool thing about this particular setup is I got brake lights, and I don't have to run both lights. I can run one at a time. to preserve battery life like I'm doing right here. Huh? A top one I don't have on. So top one didn't do anything. Now let's turn the top one on for fun then. There we go, dual action, shorter rides. These are Type C rechargeable too, so let's see if it does this brake light thing here now. Ready? Just going that fast and going or that slow and stopping, it throws brake lights on. That's kind of cool. And it's wireless. Unbelievable. That is so cool. Then you can cycle through, I'm just going to do the lower one here. You can cycle through different modes. What's it doing now? Yep. Flash. Has it got yellow flashers now? How about now? So now that's your emergency flashers. So you can do it with a remote, or you can do it with just the button on top. You don't have to use the remote. The other thing it has, this is 110 decibels. You probably can't hear it very well through here, but I'm going to honk the horn. I got 2 horns with 2 lights. That's nuts. And then. You can
take your bell off.
Huh?
You can take your bell off.
I could take my bell off, but the bell's a little more trail friendly. The horn's more traffic friendly, so to speak. Now I'm going to do a lock. Now the bike is locked. That's locked mode. That tells you that the alarm is activated. I've just got the alarm on the one. Now, if somebody goes to take my bike, and they continue to take my bike, it's a built-in bike alarm.
Let me see through that.
That's irritating. And that's going to catch somebody's attention. Because and this thing, when it's running, if you're running it, it will automatically shut off after 30 seconds of riding if you accidentally leave it on. So it's got a lot of really cool features. So there may be other applications for something like this. But yeah, as you can see here, just a quick little rubber band type mount around the turn signal here. And you got left turn, right turn. And you can hear it. Left turn. Cancel it. Horn. And then you got your light modes here, and then that was the lock mode I hit. And I've got 2 of them on here, so I got 1 on each bar. So I can go for long rides, don't worry about batteries dying. I've got a reserve tail light. I got reserve turn signal, reserve horn, reserve flashers. Is it kind of silly? Yes. Is it me? Absolutely. And the boss over there shaking her head, yep, it certainly is. So that's why I wanted to do that real quick. I can knock one thing off my list. This is mounted to the bag. The other modification I've done here is this bag is on a quick release. Now I can take it with me and put it in my tent or carry it into a building or whatever I want to do. And I still got another light here that can be my alarm. Now it's still a good idea to lock your bike. I have this tail light here that came with the bike. As you can see, it's not quite as visible as this other light, but it is a good light. But when you've got this bag on here, you can't see that one. So that's why I did this number. Another little quick thing I'll share with you. I bought this little bike mount, quick mount. It has locking pins here. It locks it in place. Once it's locked, you can change the combination here to whatever you want to lock it, so nobody can just grab your bag and go without taking the whole bike. And all the tools to take it loose are under here, so it's not accessible from anywhere. So that's pretty secure that way. Leaving me, boss? No? You hang around? Okay. You guys know I'm a Harbor Freight fan. I've been going to Harbor Freight, and I was looking for a bag to put on my bike. You can buy bike bags, and they cost a tremendous amount of money. They are very proud of their bike bags. I'll tell you that. But I also was thinking about putting a Bauer basket on here, so a big basket so I can haul all my camping gear and stuff. And then I set that on there, bolted it on there, and did not like it. This is still on. Boop, it's off. Okay, so this is a neat bag because it's got all these pockets. It's got a side pocket. It's got things where you can put pens. You can even haul a tape measure out here. And you got all the different types of pockets inside. Plus it had a divider in the middle that I will not be using. But I can put a lot of stuff in here. So when I'm not riding, I can stick my helmet, my gloves in here, and other things. When I'm camping, I can put my stove and other things like that in there. So now, so a little bit of bag modification, and I have a really cool bike bag. Locked in place. Nice zippy shut. Is it waterproof? No. It has a shoulder strap that you can carry it with if you want a shoulder strap. It's got a little side. It's just, there again, $27. What was it? Yeah, I think this bag was $27 for this bag. I cut the middle foot off the bottom so I can mount this thing. I still have the 4 outer feet. So when I set it on the ground or on a table, it's setting on its feet. I don't know. What do you guys think? Plus adding that piece to the bottom doesn't protrude past the bottom feet. Also puts the strength back in it that that one leg took out. Anyway, wanted to share that bit of information with you. It's just, we're doing lots of things. So we're halfway through project 1 of 11 that I have on my board. And we're halfway through. So I got another set of bags coming that are going to clamp to here for saddle bags that I can put my fishing pole, tackle, camping gear, and all that stuff in and go for a long bike ride. I can put my spare battery on here, my battery charger in here, and just do some fun stuff. Okay, on to the next project. All right, we've knocked a couple of things off the list. Let's see, figure out drone. Done. Now we're going to change the oil in the mower since we got it all warmed up and ready to go. Whoops, let me keep my marker over here. Well, we did get the pannier bags, saddle bags on the mountain bike. That's ready to go. I didn't bother showing you guys that. I did spend some time today playing around with this guy. This is from the lack of what I can figure out, a 1996-ish Schwinn. 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, or 2000. Schwinn Moab, 26-inch mountain bike that I put. There'll be another video on that I put the, what do you want to call it? A new front fork on it, suspension fork. Currently changing out the gears. I'm going to swap out this type of 3 chain ring gear set. This ain't the one, but it'd be like this just for a single gear set on the front and much different ratio on the rear to make it more, let's say, current to today's mountain bikes. I got the bottom bracket out of it. These bearings were not awful, but they're not as smooth as they could be. The pedals that were on it were this style of pedal, which was, let's just say, they're not awesome. Nope. The bearings feel rough. So we're going to end up with some of these Rock Brothers pedals like this. Much nicer pedal. But anyway, I spent a little bit of time on that today before I got to this mower because I wanted to make sure I got the right parts ordered, because in order to keep continuity in certain things, which there is none in this video, keep the videos flowing and going. And when I got another video going, I got to order parts, wait. And so that's why this weekend's video is a good weekend video for just catching up a bunch of projects. Now, we've got the Hustler Fast Track. This is the Fast Track, my Hustler mower. This is its 6th season. We're closing down on the 6th season. This has been around. I went a touch over on my oil change. This thing's dusty, dirty again. I blew it off not too long ago. We'll look at it here. Hard to see. 363 hours. I'm 13 hours overdue on my oil change. But I have used nothing but Opti oil and Opti 4. It's a full synthetic oil. They said if you used Opti oil in this engine, they would warranty the engine for 6 years. We're there. The thing starts and runs magnificent. We're going to lift here. We've got an air cleaner. As you can see, it's covered in dirt. I've got an air cleaner. I got an oil filter and oil in the container. Now, the place where I get it, they buy it by the bulk. So you're going to see this Kawasaki engine oil. But this isn't Kawasaki in here. They repurpose the bottles and they pump them full of Opti oil and sell them that way. They can give me a better price that way. So that's what I do. And some people are like, no, I want the original bottle. No, guys, listen to your mower supplier or whoever does your work, especially if you trust them. These are some good guys that are just up the road from me. I bought this from them and it's been an awesome mower ever since. So we're going to get busy doing that next. This one here, air filter, this is a quick connect here. Pretty straightforward stuff. Pull this one off, stick the new one on, flap that shut. Down below here, it's gonna be very hard to see, but there's a drain tube here and a thing I turn, a 10 millimeter that I turn, it lets all the oil drain out the bottom. New fuel filter, then we top the oil back off and we're good again. I've changed the oil every 50 hours on this thing since I've had it. This will be 63 hours. But I'll probably honestly run this to the 400 hours and change it again anyway. Oil change and filter for this particular unit cost me $59 every time I do it. But that's cheap insurance to keep this thing going. So let's get after it. Alrighty folks, we got the workbenches done. I can't hardly get over here to my whiteboard right now because, well, things have just happened in here. And workbenches took up a lot of bit of effort to and space and drug out some things and things fell over. But we got all the way down to number 5 completed. This is done. Next thing is we got 6 is build enclosure, change truck transmission fluid, change truck gear oil stills, organized bike toolbox, which I did a little bit of that offline. And but before we get to a couple of things on the list, there's always things that are on the list. And there's always what I like to call little pleasant distractions, you know. So I've been playing around here with this mountain bike, the Schwinn Moab from the late 90s, because I like doing bike stuff too. As you guys seen, I've gotten into e-bikes and I've gotten a rekindled flame for some of these mountain bike things, but I need to take this little pocket right here. You know, I welded a receiver hitch right to this bench when I did the revitalization of the old snap-on toolbox and put me a 3/8 steel top on it because I had it laying around. I got a Park tool. It's a little bike thing. You can't really see what it is right now so much, but I got another receiver hitch here, adapter, that I'm gonna weld on right here so I can set it on that over there and I can hold bikes up off the ground. I've done all the rework so far on this particular bike with it on the ground or hanging by my hoist and stuff. Not necessarily the most convenient way to do it. And now I have a couple other bike projects I want to work on, so I want to make it back to what I used to do in the late 90s, back to something where I can work on them a little easier, get them off the ground, and actually, you know, prevent doing further damage to them while I'm trying to fix them up. So with that being said, I'm going to break the welder out here, and we're going to weld this little chunker-doo here up. And yes, I'm using my the arm up here, my bandsaw, for a table because, you know, we got some work to do here to clear out some table space. And where'd my other glove go? Oh, here it is. Get the glove out. These gloves have, they're getting to the point where I need to just, I hate parting with them. They're broke and good. Get the gas turned on here. We're gonna crank this up to lava instead of bonfire, because this is some thick metal here. I want to get a good burn in. Yep, I do. Everything looks pretty good. Try to get this as square as I can. Look, eyeball, just the micrometer, eyeballing it in. Tackaroo. Tackaroo. Do a quick test fit over here. Make sure I like it before I go any further. Ugh. Alrighty. So here it is. This has been sitting in my lower garage for a long time. Ever since we moved here, I've never used it. But this is this is a nice tool. You'll see this in all the bike shops. This is a modified part here because the factory part's garbage. So I made one out of some real good steel and heat treated it years ago because that's what I do. But yeah, we got to clean it up, get some dirt off of it. But this thing allows you to rotate it around and then clamp your bike. This goes over center like a vice grip. And then you can lock it down so you can rotate this around. So that's what I'm kind of got going on here. And yes, it's not height adjustable, but that's fine because, you know, you can rotate things around. This is at my working height. I'm not designing this for anybody but me. Yep, that seems pretty selfish, but I am all alone here, except for me and the boss. So let's finish welding this up. Yeah. Now some people like to make it look like they're stacking dimes and go for a, I don't know what you want to call it, a decorative weld. I just burned it in. I like more of a smooth surface weld. So if you were to paint it, it actually just kind of like lays in there like a nice fillet. Let's see how this works. Okay. So how this works, in case you're not familiar, you can just put the seat post in here on this particular one. And I can adjust this so it gets tighter real quick and easy. Oh, that's a little too tight. There we go, somewhere in there. But that'll hold the bike right where I want it. All I gotta do is lock this bad boy down. Holds the bike. Now keep in mind here, I'm not trying to create a bike shop. This is just an attachment I can throw in this toolbox. And I can hang back on the wall when I'm done or put it in a drawer. But this way I can actually test my bike to make sure, you know, things are doing bike things. You know, all the shifting's working. I can get something to stabilize it. Makes it really nice. So yeah, so that's that completion of that particular piece. So that nice little side project there. This was bolted to. I'm gonna take you in the other shop and show you, shouldn't say shop, but storage area. Does this hang perfectly straight, square, perpendicular to the earth? No. Do I care? Nope. It's just enough to steady this bike so I can, you know, if I want to take this front fork off, I can. I can take the back wheels off. I can do crank stuff here if I want. Different things like that. So that's what this is all about. I do have something else. I do have a second piece. Let me get you that. Oh, got another one here that I've ground the edges off of. Make sure that don't fall on Blake. And same kind of receiver hitch thing for a truing stand. So for a wheel truing stand I built many moons ago. Well, let's go get that together. We'll leave old Blake in here. You guys know Blake. There he is. Say hi, Blake. Lack of a better term, he's kind of a shop kitty. He's kind of a yard cat. And he's a kitten that has just follows me around like a puppy dog, which is kind of neat. Most cats could care less. This cat actually cares a little bit about people. I wonder if this saw is big enough. We're gonna take Junior here and see if that's big enough to cut it. We'll be back in a minute, Blake. He probably ain't gonna mind the shop today because it's 70 degrees in the shop and it's supposed to be in the low 90s out here today. It's gonna be a hot one. There ain't a breath of wind. Well, I shouldn't say a breath. The windmill is spinning, but not enough to even change the direction of smoke going up in the air from my brush fire I've got in the back. All right, go into the shop of Lost Toys here. Sorry, the lighting in here is absolutely horrible, but it's not a workshop. So this here thing is my truing stand that I built for truing up wheels. When I build wheels, I can true them up. And I'm going to be building a couple of wheels here before too long, so let me get this back in action. This is held on by a big old piece of steel. This is what you call the definition of overkill. We'll get it in the bright light and I'll show you. But right now I just want to cut this off pretty square. Let's see, there's enough room. Now this is like 3/4 inch steel, about 2 inches thick. Let's see how fast it cuts through this. Oh, that thing's heavy. Oh, I cut through that really quick. This thing is more than impressive. If you guys haven't seen the video on this yet, you should go find it because I did a video on this little bandsaw and it's awesome. All right, we'll get this back over to the shop, weld it onto the other one, and I'll kind of show you how we use one of those little things. All right, everybody, it's time to catch you up on the old Moab, Schwinn Moab. I believe it's a late 90s bike. It did have the V-brakes on it, still has. Obviously, when we left off, it's been a minute for only a second for you guys. It's been over a week for me since I messed with this. But we put the Wofson sealed bearing headset on here, bearings, which work really nice. We left this steer tube long. It's the full length that it came with, and I bought these carbon fiber spacers. And I'll leave links in the description to all this stuff if this is what you want to do to your old 26-inch mountain bike. But I added more travel, which pitched the front end up a little bit more. But it's an air fork that we swapped it over to, as you already know. And then left the original core. I think this is original because I've seen other Moabs with the same core stem on it here. And I took the end bars off because I didn't want those for anything. And I left it the full length. And I put these spacers up top here. So if I ever want to cut it off, I can. But if I want to adjust it down, I can, but if I want to go up a little bit higher, I also can. So it all depends on what I want to do here. So it's just as easy to leave this extra inch here for now. But this is a few upgrades, and this has a lockout. So you can actually lock this one out. You got air adjustability where you can fill air over here. You got dampening control down here. So serious upgrade. Now, some other serious upgrades I've done. Now this is my $100 bike. I bought this for $100 from a guy that had it on Facebook Marketplace. I've cleaned it up a little bit. But I've also done something a little bit different here too. I have put a new bearing set inside here. I didn't cover that with you guys. In case you want to know what they look like, I'll show you. This was the old one. It screws in. This is left-hand threads on the crank side. And I think it's right-hand threads. I can't remember. On the other side. I don't remember. But I do know these are left-hand. Takes a special tool to get these out that fits in there. I have that. But these, when I got this, the cranks off, I thought this feels really rough. And this is the brand. It's a Bucklos brand that I put in here. And these are really, really smooth, nice sealed bearing setup. So we swapped that out. We also took the old pedals off. There again, roughness there as well. These might be some good old beater pedals. And as you saw before, maybe, this is what we took off. This was a 3-speed, it was a 24-speed bike. It had 3 chain rings up front, all steel. Somebody might be going, well, why would you change that out? Well, I'm going to show you some math. And I don't want to confuse anybody, but as you see today, most of the modern day mountain bikes have 1 chain ring up front. And I'm going to explain the reason why that is. Back in the day, you had 21 speed bikes, and then you had 24 speed bikes, and then you had 27 speed bikes, which meant there was 3 up here, 8 back here, which is 24. 3 up here, 9 back here, 27. That's all it was. And I think it was a selling point, maybe not, I don't know, but it just seems like it was. Because once I get ready to show you this math here, you're going to go, Bach. So the original chain ring on the front was a 22. And I just did it on this little sheet here, so I hope this makes sense to you guys. It was a 22 tooth chain ring, a 32, and a 42. What was up front. So what I did is I took that divided by the number of teeth back here. So for instance, on the original one, it was a 11 tooth on the small, 13, 15, 17, 20, 23, 28, and 30. So you take that, 22 divided by 11 is a 2-to-1 ratio. What that means is when this crank goes around once on 11 speed, on the 11th gear, that this would go around twice on a 22 tooth chain ring. And so on and so forth. So 2-to-1, 1.46 to 1, 129 to 1, all the way down. And then you go back to 32 tooth, do the math again with the same rear gears. 2.9, blah, blah, blah. You keep on going to 42 tooth, same ratio, right? Okay. So then I put this 42 tooth on here. I think it's, no, it's a 32 tooth up front here. So with a 32 tooth would bring us up to this guy, the middle chain ring that was on the bike always. But here's where it gets interesting. I did the same math right here, 32 tooth divided by 11, 13, 15, 18, 22, 27, and 40. This one jumped up to a 40 tooth. And that changes everything. So then I connected the dots, or the lines here. So this 32 tooth going to a 40 was 0.81. Nope, I did that wrong. Let's see here. A 2, see I here, 2. There's a 2.9 to 1, which went over here, 2.9 to 1. Really close to this 32 tooth here, right? So these two should be the same. 15, 18, these are the same, going straight across for the middle gear. Now where it starts getting wonky is when we take and go up to these bigger gears. Now this one is a 0.81 to 1, go up to here, 0.78 to 1. But as you can see, as it crisscrosses, I pretty much have the full range of gearing all the way. Yeah, let's see here. This one went to a 1.45 to 1, 1.45, 1.4 to 1. So I still have the full range of gears incrementally, you know, but only have 8 on the back and 1 up front. So I can cover the full span, full spectrum. There is some, when you have the 3 chain rings, there is some overlap between the ratios to a certain degree once you play around back here and play around back here. And you can also get a thing going on called cross chaining, which you can have it on the big ring back here and the big ring back here, and the chain is at a severe angle. What this does is this puts this right in the middle one, and you get more variation here. Well, I'm taking it one step further now because I've done this. And here, check these out, Rock Bros pedals. These are pretty cool pedals. Anyway, this is so smooth and slick now with all the new parts that I put in here. And I put you don't need this because these teeth are fat, thin, fat, thin, fat, thin, thick, thin, thick, thin. That thick, thin stuff helps keep the chain from jumping off, believe it or not. That's the whole design behind it. And it fits the chain. Well, I'm going to go ahead and take this up to the big. And this thing shifts really nice. This is a nice shifting setup. This is the original shifter that came on the bike. But you can see right here, it struggles a little bit on that big one because this jockey wheel, it's kind of hard to see. This jockey wheel is like tooth to tooth with this thing. So this thing doesn't have enough oomph this way to handle this big sprocket. It handles it. I actually went out in the backyard and I climbed a hill with it. The ratio is amazing. The fact that I can sit there and grind it out and climb a hill that I didn't think I'd be able to ride up sitting down, I was able to do it. And this has no motors. This is just me being the motor. Well, so after I did this little number, now this is not junk. This I can use on something. Just not going to use it on this one at this moment in time. Maybe I'll upgrade a different bike with this setup here. Maybe not. Maybe there's a different one of these that can handle that. I don't know. But, so I got on the Amazon and I started looking at things and I thought, what kind of, since this is running so neck and neck here, and this is a Shimano STX RC, and I started thinking, and this was original to the bike, and it's in great shape and it works fantastic. Matter of fact, you don't even hear any clicking here. Listen to this. You heard nothing? Yet, when you go back here, she drops down. It's silent. And you can only grab one at a time. Now, this is one click, one gear, up and down. So it's trigger, 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 click, 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 click. I think the more modern stuff, if I remember right, you can grab like 3 gears at a time, as long as you're pedaling. Now, I don't know if anybody knows this or not, but when you're changing gears, and you'll hear some guys that don't do the right thing, you'll ride with them, and you'll hear these gears crunching and grinding and banging and gnashing and When you change gears, you're supposed to let a little pressure off of the pedals to let that climb up so you don't put any extra stress on your chain. You'll break your chain if you're not careful because you'll put a severe bind on it. But here, guys, it's just like trying to shift your car, your manual transmission, without pushing in the clutch and not aligning the synchros. I know you can shift manual transmissions without pushing in the clutch if you just float it in there. I've done it many times on trucks that I've owned in the past. But you know what I mean? On the new modern stuff, it's like you can gnash the gears pretty good. Grind me a pound of meat with those gear grindings. So these, you want to let the pressure off just for a little bit. Just take the pressure off Anticipate a hill, shift. When you get to the hill, climb, downshift. Usually you can let off pressure going downhill pretty easy, grab your new gears. But anyway, it'll make your stuff last longer. Well, what have I done? What did I do? How have I done it? So here's another gear set that I bought from Box 9. This is a gear set 3, it's called, bought from Box 9. And this goes up to a 46 tooth. Down to 11, up to 46 tooth, and it is a 9-speed. And when you stack it up next to the original gear cluster, it's pretty much the same height. The reason they can get more out of it is as you go up to 9-speed, 10-speed, 11-speed, 12-speed, depending on what bike it is, the chain will get a little thinner to allow for those different speeds. As you can see, there's plenty of room here, you know, to go from a 8 to a 9 speed without your chain shrinking. This whole kit came with a shifter, a new derailleur that works with this particular range of gears. And this is going to even give me more. This is going to be a taller gear. It's going to give me all the way up to 4. I can climb. I think I could climb straight up a brick wall if gravity would hold me to it. Because a 42 tooth already does amazingly well. 46 tooth is going to do even better. Still goes all the way down. It's crazy to think that that little gear there is 11 tooth and that you can put pressure on that and not break it. But anyway, that's what we're going to go to now. And it came with a new cable. It came with new housings and new housing ends and stuff. We'll see if I use that or not. I think, you know, this current housing that's in here, it's a multi-piece housing that goes through here like this. And you got open cable, housing, open cable, housing. I think I'll just feed the new cable through that housing and use it that way. This should have the typical standard screw in drop out right here. So I just screw that out and put the new one in. So it should be pretty straightforward when I put this on. But we're going to go ahead and drop this wheel off now. And when you go to drop a wheel off, whether you guys know this or not, you want to get all the way down to to make it easy on you and life in general, take it all the way down to your smallest chain ring. That's going to make things relax and come out easier because that's when you got the most slack in your chain. Now the other thing that this derailleur has that I've got has a clutch in it. This one here will allow this. It's got a lot of bounce here. And then when you're in this gear and you're going over bumps, your chain is doing all kinds of sloppy stuff. The idea behind this derailleur is it has a clutch built into it that has resistance so that when this thing tries to bounce, it can't bounce. It just stays solid. It doesn't have all this give in it like this. There's resistance built in. That's the way I understand it happening. I'm not a bike expert. I tinker and learn and go and develop and, you know, keep growing my knowledge. Cool thing about this, look at that dropout right there. Still got the Schwinn logo embossed right into that weld-in piece. That's a neat little Easter egg, ain't it? But yeah, this is an aluminum frame. 70053 T, what does that say? T3 or M3 or whatever that, is that an M3? But as you can see here, by taking that one gear and using just one gear here, I have removed the derailleur that went here. That is gone. And instead I put this chain guide here. So if you do get some bounce and do some crazy stuff, that the whole idea is you don't throw your chain off here. But also cleans up the handlebars a lot because now all you have is one shifter, no bar ends, one mirror. Some people might think, well, you're mountain biking with a mirror. Well, some of the trails I ride on, there are people that come up behind you and you want to give way to them if they're going faster than you. And then there's, you know, when you're on the road and stuff, I like seeing what's behind me. I like seeing what's coming up on me. I don't like people sneaking up on me and surprising me. And I'll probably put a little bell on here too, so I can go ding ding and let other people know that I'm coming up behind them. That's just a courtesy thing on the trail. Usually you pass them on the left. But without further ado, let's drop this tire off or wheel off, and we'll get busy pulling this off and put the other one on and get the wheel back up in there. We'll take this guy off, and we got to pop the chain off of it because it came with a new chain. So fun. All right, now that we're already down to the smallest gear, we're going to pull the brake loose, relax the brake. This is still old school stuff here. This has the the quick release. The new stuff doesn't have a quick release. The new stuff is like bolted in place. Makes it harder for people to steal your wheels on the new stuff. There again, we got that out. We'll go ahead and remove the skewer. This takes a special tool that fits right in. Oop, wrong one. Right in here, just like that. Then I usually have to get my 1-inch wrench out. And I also have my chain. This is a homemade thing I made many moons ago. So I can actually hold this gear set. Whoops. Sometimes it's easier to leave the skewer, put the skewer back in here to hold this in. I think I'll do that. There, that'll keep it from riding out on me. Now this is a brand new Bucklow gear cluster I just bought. And this whole gear setup with the gear shifter stuff was $140, I believe. Where are you? Right there. This came with a spacer, now I see why. That goes on there. There, now everything fits. In order to tighten it, I usually just put this right in my vise. Then I can set this right on here. Make sure I'm flat. There we go. Big gears. Big gears. Now we can stick the skewer right back in. Don't forget your little spring. This small end goes inward, not outward. There. Beautiful. And if you haven't seen the other video yet, it may not be out yet. This might come out first. But I actually upgraded my toolbox here. I had a receiver hitch here, and I had this Park Tool bike stand, and I welded this onto here so I can quick change stuff out. And I also did the same thing. I welded me another tube over here on my bench so I can actually have my chewing stand that I built years ago. Modified that, put that on the table. But I did everything up to this point just sitting on the floor. And as you saw, it can be done. All right, we're gonna have to get us a wrench here and get this off. Then we gotta break the chain too. This little wrench came with my pedals, and it works pretty good, but you can tell it's really soft. I'm gonna get me a good Park Tool one, because they fit a lot of things, and it's actually quite handy to have. So we'll get the cable loose. Probably gonna have to cut that to get it out. It's got a nice kink in it. There's multiple ways to cut that, but I've got a nice cable cutter here. I'm gonna use that so I have a clean end. Nothing wrong with the cable. It's possibly can be used for a front brake or something. So we got that. Now we got this loose. Boom, out of the way. This bike, when I bought it from a guy off of Marketplace, you could tell that he had taken really good care of this bike. It was in really good shape for its age. There. That's a big sprocket. Spacely sprockets. It's a big sprocket. Then we gotta find the master link in here and get that loose. I'm gonna go ahead and hang the derailleur on here. See, it says limited slip clutch, patent pending. Wonder who they stole that from, or is it the real people that own the patent pending, or is this a rip-off people? I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know. Yeah, that definitely will get down out of the way, and it's got plenty of travel to it. All right, my camera overheated and shut down, but because it's a GoPro and, you know, it's the Hero 12, not the 13. The 13 doesn't have that big of an issue. Here it is, folks. Look at that gear range. I actually went out and did a quick test ride. This 46 tooth, and then I got a 40. My other one's a 42. This is a 46, I believe, something like that. That's a little taller gear. I got 9 speeds now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 versus 8 speed. Not that that's a big difference, but I did take it for a quick ride. And this trigger shift is a little different than I'm used to. This is a push-push. Either push here for shifting up, push here to click down. So click. So I'll walk you through the gears here and you can see. Now, right now I'm going to go all the way down for you. Because remember how we were talking about the clutch on this one? Let's get all the way down to the bottom gear. So there's as much slack in the chain as you can get. This is the loosest it's going to get, but look at that. There's not a lot of bounce there because this thing here keeps the clutch keeps the right amount of tension on it. So it makes it nice. No bouncy. Then we'll shift up here. I gotta get used to this shifter. It's when you go to shift, you want to push it firmly. Get it onto that gear. Get it on that gear. Get it on that gear. It does a pretty good job. I like it. I think it's going to be pretty cool. Let's stand back and take a quick look at it here. Now that we've got the new derailleur, we've got a little protective cap on the end of this here. This housing here, I did replace the original housing with the one that came with it, with its ends, because this didn't need, the other one had a loop. This one goes right around here, then threads through here and locks in right here. But yeah, bolts right up to the standard stock drop. But it's beautiful looking. I like it. I think we got ourselves a rider. She's a beauty, Clark. The only thing that kind of doesn't go together, and it kind of does and kind of doesn't, is the silver seat post, but I got silver handlebars, silver rims, you know. There again, we're not trying to make a show bike out of it. We're just trying to make a good rider out of it. Now this is me taking a regular $100 bike, putting a few more hundred in it. I'll give you a total on everything here in a little bit. We'll walk through it. And because we did put a new front fork on it, air fork, it didn't have before. We put new headset bearings, which are better. We didn't spend any money up here except for the shifter kit that we bought for here. The bottom bracket, we bought a new bearing there. New crank set, new pedals. Brakes are the same, wheels are the same, tires are the same. Front and rear, brakes and everything. I did put a different seat on it because the seat on it that was on here was absolute garbage. It didn't sit right. I like sitting on my sit bones here. And it's got the gap here to relieve pressure. And we got that set up where it feels pretty comfortable. All it's left to do is take this thing for a little bit of a ride. And then I'll probably take it on one of the group rides when I go riding with a group of guys. And I've been using the e-bike a lot for those group rides. And I am by no means in great shape yet, but that got me built up enough for the e-bike that I'm just daring enough to take this out. I'll probably go ride it on my own first and get kind of comfortable with it on the trails, because handling that 88 to 92 pound bike compared to this bike that weighs less than 30 pounds, well, we want to know what it weighs. Let's see what it weighs. I forget. It was like 40 some pounds when I first got it. So let's get the scale out. After handling that other bike the way I have been, and then getting this bike, let's see, the scale is at 0. See if I can just hook it underneath the seat post here. Let's see, 10, 20, 30. She's about 37 pounds. Not light, but it was well over 40 when I started. So I'll get you around here. By no means is this a feather bike. But yeah, 36 pounds. Which compared to my 88, I actually need to weigh that other bike. They claim 88 pounds. I need to get out here and weigh it, because when I feel this 37 pound bike and I handle that other e-bike, it certainly seems a lot heavier than 88 that they claim on the brochure. For sure. All right, let's get her down. But I'm pretty happy with the outcome. I started out with a bike that I was kind of like, I didn't have buyer's remorse, because I paid $100 for it, and it was in really good shape. I mean, I could literally just ride it as is, sort of, kind of. But the first thing I noticed when I was riding it the first time is the seat. I did not like it. I did not like the handlebar height. It was too low for me. And I did not like the original fork. I wanted the air fork, because the air fork, the nice thing about it is you can adjust the air pressure for each rider's weight. Whereas the other one that already have springs in it and stuff, you can buy different spring sets and stuff. That's the thing of the past, really. The air fork is the way to go. But yeah, and I love these pedals. I got these on my e-bike as well. And they're the Rock Bros. Like I said, links in the description for everything I bought here. In case you want to update your old bike, this is the way to do it, folks. This is the way to get into mountain biking. Cheap. Now, let's talk about mountain biking in my area. We don't have any mountains here. We don't have a whole lot of good downhill runs even. We got trails. We got single track and dirt trails we ride on, and that's serpentine back and forth, and I got a few climbs and a few descents. Nothing like they have in mountain bikes, where people do downhill mountain biking, where they're taking ski lifts up. If this bike, you plan on taking this bike to an area where you take a ski lift up and then ride down, this is not the bike for that. This will work for 95% of the population that rides bikes, though. For a nice trail ride bike, this will work just fine. This one I can also ride on the road if I want to. There again, it's got one bottle cage on it. It's enough to go out and ride for an hour or hour and a half, and enough liquid you can take with you to keep yourself entertained and your thirst quenched, as it were. And there again, it's a little bit on the vintage side. It's hard to believe that the bikes I rode in the late 90s are now considered vintage, because they're closing in on 30 years old, which blows my mind. And I got another one I'll be working on, another couple of them I'll be working on that I've been playing around with. I got my old Schwinn homegrown tomato carbon fiber full suspension bike. Now, one thing I did notice when I first rode this thing around just in the backyard on some trails is with a hardtail, it's you feel everything in it. You really do. I've gotten spoiled with the full suspension bikes, because I can stay in the saddle and pedal is what I'm really used to. Because I like to get my, I don't know what you want to do, climb and everything else in the seated position. I use my cadence, my spin on the cranks to do the things I want it to do. And coming out of the seat and standing and pedaling isn't my thing. But on descents, yes, get your butt off the seat and, carve through the trails and get your butt off the seat and keep that tire glued to the ground the best you can, using your legs as shock absorbers. So, alrighty, folks. I hope you enjoyed this video. This is something a little different, obviously. Let me know if you like some of this bike content, because I got a few more bikes I'm working on right now, and I even picked up this. There's a place in near me that's called the Bike Library, and I picked up this wheel here. This is a neat old wheel, nothing fancy about it, for a 26-inch bike as well, but it came with a rotor that's actually in really good shape. It's got the cassette here that seems to be nice and tight, works really well. So this is going to go great for switching one of my bikes over to hydraulic brakes, because I didn't want to mess up my current wheel that I built from scratch myself to convert it to hydraulic. So this is an easy way for me to swap it to hydraulic. I want to find another black wheel to match, so the front one can match, you know, a little bit better. And we're going to have some fun with that bike. I like, the one thing that keeps biking for me a little interesting is being able to, what do I want to ride today? What type of riding do I want to do today? What kind of workout am I looking for? Am I looking to just go with super light? Am I looking to do an e-bike ride? What do I want to do? So this gives you options. You know, people go, all you need is one bike. That's true. All you need is one. But variety is the spice of life sometimes. And if you know me, if anybody knows me, if you have just met me, you know I don't do one of anything. There's always more than one for me in my life. So, all right. Thanks for watching, folks. I hope you found this enjoyable and informative. This is Michael saying, if it ain't broke, fix it till it is, and we'll see you on the next video if I'm lucky.